Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another video on Python for ethical hackers. In this video, we'll look at how to automatically change the MAC address using Python. So in the last video, if you remember, we did change the MAC address using these 3 to 4 commands by first taking the interface down, then changing the MAC address of that interface, and then getting the interface up again. Once we did that, it indeed changed the MAC address to our desired MAC address that we specified. But in this video, we'll automate the entire stuff and we'll execute these 3 commands in Python. Okay, so if you can think of anything doing in Python, indeed there is a way, or there is a module available for doing that. In our case, we are willing to execute commands on terminal. So for doing that, we do have a module by the name of subprocess in Python. The subprocess module contains a number of functions. These functions allow us to execute system commands, and it completely depends on which OS you are using. Like if you are using Windows, it will allow you to execute CMD commands. If you are using the Windows and you are using the subprocess in Python, it will allow you to use the CMD commands in subprocess. And if you're using the Linux, it will allow you to use the terminal commands. And the same goes for Mac OS X as well. Let's look at its documentation if you are having trouble to sleep. Why am I suggesting you to read the documentation? Because there is a lot of things in Python. Like nobody can cover everything in Python. So you do have to get in a habit of reading these documentations, whether that is for Python, whether that is for a module, or whether that is for anything. Like nobody can, like there is a lot of things in Python, so nobody can cover everything. So that's why you need to be in a habit of reading through the documentations. Now, let's look at the documentation of subprocess. Now you can just come over to Google and type in the subprocess, and it will show you the subprocess documentation for 3.7.4 and as well as the 17.1 version of subprocess, which is used with the 2.7. So let's look at the version 2.7 for the Python 2.7, which is 17.1. If you come over to the documentation, you can see that we do have this subprocess module with which we can use the different functions. So the first one in that is the subprocess.call function. And if you look at it in the description, it says that run the command described by orgs, wait for the command to complete, like it will wait for the command to execute, then it will go to the next line. Like suppose we do have some print functions after it or something else after it, so it will first execute the command. In our case, suppose we are willing to change the MAC address, so it will first change the MAC address, then go to the next line and execute that. So this is important. Now if you come a little bit more down, you can find another functions, and all of these are right over here. Check the output and subprocess.check the output and stuff like that. But in our case, we will be using this first function, which is subprocess.call, and we'll be using this second form of this subprocess, which is that. In the next video, we'll look at what this is, but right now we'll just use this. So let's have a quick look at it. Let's have a quick glance at it and see what we have. So I have opened up terminal. Let's cd to desktop and then Python, then Python projects. Once I come over here, let's create a new file right over here. So I can do that by writing nano, and it will open up the nano. Let's import first the subprocess, and once I import the subprocess, let's call it subprocess.call and the first thing we will be providing would be the command. So in our case it would be if config subprocess.call if config and shell equals to true, and then I will press Ctrl X and then press Y and then name it. So this is an example code, so let's rename it example.py. And once that's done, let's run the program by writing Python example.py, and you can see that it ran the ifconfig command on our terminal. So let's go through the code once more and we'll then look at the output. So the code right over here, what it does, so the import statement just imports the subprocess, and then the subprocess.call function calls the ifconfig command, which is right over here. You can see that we can call the subprocess.call and we can provide the second parameter as shell equals to true. So what that's really doing is it's calling the ifconfig command on terminal. That's it. So this is pretty much it for this video. Let's examine the output once more by running the example.py, and you can see that as soon as we run the example.py Python file, you can see that it runs the ifconfig command, while the ifconfig command is used to list all of the connected interfaces with our PC. So this is pretty much it for this video. I hope you did learn something in this video. In the next video, we will run the commands that we discussed in our previous video using Python to automate the Mac changer process automatically using Python. So have a pleasant day. Bye for now. Till next time, enjoy hacking. Peace.